Hello, we are doing a deep dive into 2, 3 scenes in Thar. But the reason why we're doing this is because we use the same hill in 3 different ways and we shot in the same location, but we come back to it in daylight and we kind of try to photograph it in different ways. It's interesting because when we went back to look at this location, we knew that when we come back on to shoot, what happens is that they've actually harvested all the hills. So all the grass would be cut. So we begged the line producer and the location manager to make sure that not to chop the grass from that particular hill that we enjoyed that vantage point to Babita's house. So that was really helpful because that created a texture and it was really beautiful, to be able to work with this tall grass and have these characters hide within it. So I played with a lot of darkness and just kind of lit the space. Usually that's what I do. And then kind of focus on the movement of the actors. So I think since they were seated, and not moving around too much, it was really easy for me to control how much of the frame I wanted lit and how much of it was in shadow. It's really about creating an atmosphere. I think that's important for the audience to be able to kind of get into the mood of the film. That's one of the biggest responsibilities for us as a cinematographer. And especially like Thar, a film like this, which was so gritty and it needed that. It was such a strong visual script as well, that it was easy for me to lean towards aesthetics that I kind of like and enjoy. So it's nice because, of course, they're hiding. The idea is that they're hiding from their family and, she's meeting her lover the day before her wedding. It was nice because I kind of worked with the production designer and we tested several different torches to see kind of what is most effective that actually illuminates their face, but at the same time looks good in the frame. So we just worked with that. I think I kind of had a gem ball, a china ball, with creating some moonlight. And then it was really just the laltain and the torches these two characters had. In the scene when she's running towards me and you have the headlight, the torch which is shining into the lens, it's actually she's coming towards the camera and I've kind of laid a track, diagonally. So I'm going from right to left and she's coming towards camera. Because I remember the hill was very rocky and it would be practically impossible for me to run backwards. And I don't think that we had a Steadicam operator on this day, So for something like this, there is a certain sense of urgency because she's running towards the action sequence or where the dacoits are attacking the family. But also you want to feel the speed in which she's running. So for that, my camera needs to move along with her. We had lit the hill with sky panels, just to have some moonlight kind of falling from a different angle. And then you have the headlights of the Jeep. And then you have the torches of which the characters are holding. And that's it, really. We didn't really have much. And I played with the headlights a lot of the car, to be able to throw light at a particular time within the shot. I think it's really interesting because you have to, within one frame, kind of explain that the dacoits are leaving and that she's come down a particular hill and noticed that and then runs out towards her family. So how do you best show this or describe this, to the audience in one frame? So that's also very interesting. The choices, where do you put your camera for that? And how do you combine all these different information within one frame while making it visually interesting? This drone shot was extremely interesting, but also a little complicated. Of course, we created the bird in post. We try to have the camera or the bird backlit as much as possible. So we shot this at the crack of dawn. I think like the first light hit the land and we were, rolling. So when I was kind of directing the drone operator in terms of what movement to take and what to include and, just how the camera flows, it's important for me to kind of imagine what the bird's flight would be like. So that was very exciting. Of course, we knew the area, and during the location scout, we kind of sussed out the whole space. And I had a drone operator with me then during the location scout, so I could kind of, let it take flight and understand the landscape. And I think a lot of the locations we found during the scout was through the drone. Like I would ask the drone operator to just kind of go up and shoot and see what the space around us was, because it's such a large terrain. And then we found different areas that we could go and explore further. So this hill in particular was, happened by chance. We kind of knew the area really well and then went back and recreated it. So it's very exciting because I was imagining the bird and the drone kind of capturing the bird in flight, But at the same time, it had to be combined with Anil Kapoor's Jeep that arrives in frame and then exits. And also keep in mind that you have to eventually tilt up for Raj's credits to roll, So there were several different things at play here. And I think rhythm has a lot to do with it, to understand the edit and understand how long you want the shot to last for and where's the starting point and how it has to finish, But the idea was that it had to work in one take because you can't cut between it. So the fluidity and the operation of the drone has to be seamless. It has to be as smooth as the way the bird flies. And to have an epic drone operator to be able to kind of have that whole movement in such fluidity that you don't feel the camera but are only with the bird, and then have like a bird eye view on the land. And I think that sets the tone in the way we kind of shot all of Thar, is the idea of how massive and wild our country is and how big it is and how small we are in comparison to it, Like how small the cars are and how small the humans are and how the bird sees the whole world, and then these characters exist in such a small terrain, It's quiet poetry.
अब बता, आग लगाने गई थी या आग बुझाने?
मेरे ससुराल ने मेरा ब्याह तोड़ा।
तू बोले तो मैं थोड़ा दूं?
मैं मर जाऊंगी आत्महत्या।
मेहनत लगती है अकेला आत्महत्या करने में। दोनों साथ में करो, आसान होगा और कहानी भी बनेगी। देख बबीता, देख तू इस टीले पे क्या करती है वो तेरी मर्जी। इतना बता दे कि तेरे परिवार के साथ जो हुआ वो किसने किया।
I must say I love this scene for some reason. I don't know why, but it was great to come back to this location in daylight and actually see the grass, and hear it. You can hear the rustling of the grass in this. And it was really exciting because Raj wanted to take the characters back to the same hill, where Babita was. And without realizing, Surekha is questioning her, in the same locations that she was present while the crime was occurring. So that was fun. It was kind of lovely. Again, we kept the rule of thumb to not have our characters lit flat, with the sunlight. So and then even though I would have liked to put my camera on the right side of them because the landscape had more depth, but here I chose, the effect the sun is having on the characters instead of how much depth my frame would have. You know what I mean? So it was interesting. For me, I would always lean more towards the way the sun is lighting my characters than what I can see further in the background. I think these are very small choices, and it really helps to discuss that with your director to see what they are leaning towards, so then you can kind of fine-tune your decision, really. This is a great example, this scene, about how you find an interesting location and you arrive there and you kind of work with all the elements, like here where I've scheduled the time to shoot this scene with the first AD. But then the actors arrive and they actually, Satish ji and AK just kind of stood like that in front of the frame, I mean, we didn't really do much. They all stood in this ascending order and it kind of worked out really beautifully. And because of that, I chose to not show the whole hill, but kind of rely on how even, the hill is tapering. I totally fed off the way the actors were blocking and how they were positioned within the frame. You have to trust your decisions. And then once you arrive on set, not think about it so much. but kind of flow with what's needed, really, and this is, I think, a beautiful example of it. Like, I did not ask KK, or Raj did not ask KK to go stand there. It's just that because he did and we had made those right decisions of finding this epic location, that I get that mid shot of him, with such a beautiful depth in the background,
And it's like the thing of he's figured it out. He's
Yeah.
figured out, and now his journey lies behind him. And
Exactly.
He's going to have to go down that road.
Yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah, I think it should be everybody's philosophy about being able to pivot well, It's really crucial for our job. I think we cannot be so set in what we want or think is right, because you cannot do this by yourself, I think it's important, it's really good, because we're there to assist the vision of the director. And sometimes, directors themselves would like to change their mind. So it's really important for a cinematographer not to freak out if things are not going according to plan, I think it's really beautiful to find your own perfection within these imperfections. You know what I mean? It's really wonderful if you can achieve that. Shanti se.